Hey everybody, this is Mark Matthews. I want to give you guys some insight on what I use for my GoPro videos and how exactly I get them done. What's the gear I use? How do I do it? What's my exact setup essentially? So to jump right into it, here's my secret weapon. The GoPro Karma Grip. Now, this thing is so good. It might be a little big and bulky because most of the time I run the grip on my chest, but there's really nothing like it in the industry, and I find that like anything I ride, anything I do, it's going to hold its line. There's some smaller, flimsier gimbals out there and they just don't have the same effect as this. This one is like the most robust one I've ever found, and it's awesome. So when I first started watching gimbal videos, it might have been like 3 or 4 years ago, and I saw some footage on there, and it was this dude just shredding a trail, maybe somewhere in Squamish. He wasn't even going that fast, and I was like, oh man, like this looks so good. I gotta find out how this guy is getting these shots. So I sent him a message, and he told me what gimbal he was using, and it was this little gimbal called a wearable gimbal. So the first thing I did was I bought that gimbal, and then I bought this chest mount here. I threw it on my GoPro. I went for it. I got some great content out of it, some really good footage, but I found that the gimbal would just shake all over the place and it wouldn't hold up a lot of the time, and it just wasn't reliable. I actually went through 3 gimbals before I just gave up and decided to try something else. And that's when I found the Karma Grip, because even though it's heavy and it can be a real pain to wear, there's just nothing that holds up quite as good as it. So I'll show you an example. What I first did was I had my old chest mount that I'd been using forever, the original GoPro chesty, and it's nice and small and pretty comfortable, which I liked. And then I would throw the Karma Grip gimbal on just like this, and basically you just clip it on, you turn it on, it's powered up, and then I'd push it in just to make it a little more stable, clamp it down, and then you can adjust exactly where you want the angle to be. So you hold it for 3 seconds and it will stay there. And then say I want to angle down a bit. So I also want a little more straight on my middle of my handlebars. So I would turn it, clamp it back down, and then angle it to the desired location. 3 seconds, 1, 2, 3. Okay, good. So this is how I would get the shots to begin with. And it was really good most of the time, but as you can see, it still wobbles around really easily. This chest mount isn't very ideal. So I upgraded to the newer chest mount, the Pro I think they call it. It's this one right here. And I'll show you the difference right away that you can notice on it. So first I gotta turn this off, or I guess I can leave it on. It just trips out sometimes when I turn it off. But, okay, get that off first. Alright, so get the old chest mount off. Then I'm gonna throw the new one on here. This is the one to use. This thing works so good. Just that bigger surface area here will really get you on your bike solid, or get your camera on your body solid, and it's way better. So I already have this set up even tighter than that one, and then it already feels way more solid on my body without a camera or any weight on there. But this is what I use right now 90% of the time. This is the setup. The Karma Grip gimbal with the new GoPro chest mount. I push it into my body a bit so it has something to go against. Then you just rotate the grip to get it in the spot you want. Clamp it down. Again, hold the camera for 3 seconds. Let go and it's there. Now this is an awesome setup. This is what I use. It's a quick setup. It's bulky, but I can still throw it in my riding pack, and when I've hit a trail once or twice and I'm feeling really good on it, I'll pull the camera out and do a lap where I just smash it out. Or a lot of times it's like a trail that I've never rode and I'm really excited to what's gonna come, so I just throw this on and sometimes I get really good shots out of it. So with this chest mount, look how much more solid that is. It's like, it's not going anywhere. Like I could hit like a 20-foot drop, overshoot the landing, and the camera is still gonna look exactly where it should be looking. So it really smooths everything out. It gives it a really nice feel, and I don't have to do anything to the footage at all. Like, it's all just with this tool here. So that's awesome. It makes it really great, and that's my actual setup. Now there's a few other things you can do to kind of lighten up your setup. So the first thing you can do is just get one of the newer GoPros, like the Hero 7 Black, because it's got Hyper Smooth. And then you don't have to run a gimbal at all. But I would say that like the Hyper Smooth is only about 70 or 80% as good as this, if that. And this will give you that little bit of extra nice smoothed out footage that nothing else can give you. No digital stabilization can replace a gimbal ever. And that's something I really believe. We're not quite there yet with the technology. For the camera, for that reason, I haven't even bought myself a Hero 7 yet. I'm still running the 6 and it works just fine. I can still shoot 4K at 30 frames, or I think up to 60 frames. I don't usually shoot that high of a frame rate because I like to have that nice motion blur. But this camera is awesome. It does everything I would need the 7 to do, and I don't have any really real reason to upgrade right now, so that's great. Another thing you can do to lighten up your setup if you still want to run the gimbal is you can actually get an extension cable for it, which has its pros and cons. What I don't like is that I need to, first of all, this can be pretty annoying, twisting it off. What you have to do is find the spot on the grip, and there's an unlock setting. Oh, here we go. So it's still really tight. It's not even locked. There we go. Okay, that slides off. This is your battery, so this is what's powering this. But what you can do is get an extension cable, and I have one. I barely use it anymore just because it's extra setup. And although it's a little smaller on my body, I honestly don't really notice the grip too much now that I'm used to it. This is still pretty big too. Like it's not the tiniest setup. So you can throw that on there. Then you have the extension cable. You can grab the gimbal, battery, slide that in, twist it. Now it's locked. And then you throw it back on your chest mount. Turn on the battery. Throw this in your backpack or whatever you're using. I can put it in my pocket right now as an example. And now I have a much lighter setup. So that's a little more convenient. It sticks out a little more from your body. I don't know why. Or maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's just like an illusion. But yeah, it still works really well. Because it's lighter, it does wobble around a bit more than the big grip. Because when I have this long grip and I bring it into my chest a bit, it's going to stabilize me a little more. And this still works really well. And it's a little nicer feeling on your body. But really, like, how annoying does this look? I don't really want to ride with that. I'm worried about the cable getting tangled up in something if I'm doing a trick like a table or a whip. I don't want this getting in the way. So for a while there, I was using this and then putting it in my bag and then tucking the cable underneath the straps like this. And that was a pretty good trick, but it's just a lot of extra setup time, and the shots don't look any better. It's just not really worth it for me. The cable's cool if you want a lighter setup on your body, but I kind of like just throwing this straight on and making it simple. And that's everything I do. That's how I get the shots. In the next videos, I'll show you guys what my camera settings are and everything like that. And there'll be more to come on just little tips and tricks I use to get the footage I do. So stay tuned and thanks for watching.